you doing, bud? Where are you at?
I am in a hotel watching, no offense, Ty, I'm watching Jordan Love's interceptions right now.
That's okay. They won.
I'm in a hotel in New York. Just took the red eye back. What's going on?
Well, thanks for putting in the effort of getting out of the desert of Arizona. How nice is that place, bud? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That place is beautiful.
I want to move to Arizona, but only for like 100 days a year, I feel.
I think that's how everybody does it.
Yeah.
I think it's how everybody does it. It is beautiful out there. Absolutely beautiful.
Awesome.
It would be the easiest place, I think, to sign big-name free agents because I think they have all the things you could possibly need, wonderful views, perfect weather. Sometimes. I mean,
Right.
When it's unbearably hot, you got it. Golf, you name it. They get a massive win last night, and I think there's some stats floating around about Kyler not being able to win back-to-back games for a while and what they've been. And I think he's 10-22 in some certain. I mean, there was a lot of stats about Kyler last night that came out that I did not know. That I guess not a lot of wins have been taking place. You've got a chance to chat with them, obviously getting to call the game. How do you feel about the Cardinals? What was this win for them like yesterday? And do they have what it takes to go and win? Because I believe it was said last night they're never going to win Super Bowl. I think that is what Swagoo said. I think that's what Swagoo said.
Yeah, I was really impressed by Arizona because they're so depleted at really both sides of the line of scrimmage. You know, part of the reason why the Cardinals haven't or Kyler hasn't had a ton of the wins is their drafts. Like, if you look at just their defensive roster, the talent that they have in their defensive roster, it's not high end when it comes to draft picks. The last impactful person on their defense that they drafted was Budda Baker. And that was, I think, 7 or 8 years ago. They drafted Zach Allen, but he no longer is on the team. He's on the Broncos. So, you just looked at the roster and defensively and some of the, they took a young man, Robinson, out of Missouri this year that's supposed to be going to be a really good player, but he's been on IR. And so going into the game, I really expected the Chargers to dominate the line of scrimmage. And, dude, sitting with Jonathan Gannon, who's their head coach, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to him. He is an absolute madman. Madman.
I love him. You got that fire in your gut?
Uh-huh. Do you?
You got that fire in your gut?
Did you take the bus to the game?
No, he took the red eye. It wasn't a bus.
I took the red eye.
These are all quotes from Coach Gannon that we're telling you. You're welcome. You can use them as your own going forward research on the head coach. We've never talked to him, though. These are all videos that the Arizona Cardinals social media team have put out about Coach Gannon that have made us go, wow, this guy's electrifying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He actually was addressing the team, and he said, who drove here today?
Show hands.
Who walked? Who took the bus? Nobody.
Yeah.
It was a shame.
I was they physically set the tone. Their defense physically set the tone against the Chargers. And then Kyler made some plays with his feet that were huge. James Conner and Kyler basically put the team on their back. And James Conner willed some of the fumble that he knocks out off the early interception. That probably takes points off the board. Taylor, the corner DB, he gets beat over the top. He comes back and punches the ball out at the front pylon. That takes points off the board. So, but Kyler made some big plays, late in the game. And, when we were talking to Kyler getting ready for the game, it was one of those meetings where, I asked him, Kyler, 6 games into the season, what have you liked offensively? And he said, well, we've run the ball well, and I like that. But,
you like that?
And I was like, okay. And he's like, I need the ball more. I need to impact the game more. And initially, I didn't know necessarily how to take it because I was like, you guys are running it well, though. And then, after I thought about it a little bit longer, it was the desire for him to, have the ball in his hands more, especially in those crucial moments. And I think you saw that last night. I don't think that they're deep enough talent-wise to go on a big run, but I do know if they want any shot of going on a big run. Yeah, this is the play to Connor. Just an unbelievable play late in that game. Just phenomenal effort. I will say this. If they're going to go on a run, they got to find a way to get Marvin Harrison Jr. the football more. They just don't throw him the ball at times. And I don't know if it's call. I don't know if it's situation. I don't know if it's Kyler. But they'll need to do that more.
Okay, so Marvin Harrison Jr. was up last night. Couldn't really tell early. Seems like that finished the story there. Kyler Murray against San Francisco. Obviously, he had that run where as soon as he breaks through the first line, he actually calls it. It's like a 45-yarder. Then he just had that same thing last night. Is that what he's referring to? It's like, hey, I would like to because he's moving.
Yeah.
He is moving. And obviously we've seen the plays where he extends a play and he runs around for 45 seconds or whatever and does it. The touchdown breakaway speed shit, I don't think we've seen a lot from Kyler. Is that what he's referring to? Is that what he's talking about, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the creating big plays. This offense hasn't had a ton of them, and they drafted Marvin for a reason. Michael Wilson's a good receiver of theirs, and I think he's going to be a really nice pro, but he's still young in his second year. And I think Kyler's like, yo, just give me the ball a little bit more. As much as we love to play the patient run game, and James is a big part of who we are, if we want to win games, because it's some of the makeup of our roster, I'm going to have to do some Kyler stuff. And I do think he's kind of – and Pat, I don't know if he is one of the most self-confident people you'll ever meet, man. That dude believes in himself as much as anybody you'll come across.
I love that. He just got a Call of Duty thing, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Big partnership. Yep.
And he said, you guys' tweets got me another bag.
This is a great
Gotcha.
Keep doing it. He's so talented, so athletic.
Yep.
If he was to become a guy, the NFL would be pumped.
For sure.
We all would be.
Yep.
In Arizona, go ahead.
I think he can. I think in the NFL world, I guess, they got to win more for him to actually get into that conversation.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's how it works. But they got to get more talent. Their draft have got to get significantly better.
All right, well, good luck over to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they get a win. Let's talk about a team that got a loss. D-Butch got a question for you, Dano.
Yeah, on the other side, who people are pretty high on at the quarterback position. I know I am. I feel like you are as well. Herbert, he was spinning it last night, but they didn't get a bunch of touchdowns. What do you think is missing from that offense? I think they're missing some, quote-unquote high-end talent as well. Disley had a nice game. Palmer balled out. Some other people showed up. But what do you think is missing from that Chargers offense right now?
Yeah, I do believe going into the game, I wasn't sold that they needed perimeter help. Quentin Johnson doesn't play. DD doesn't play for them either. So down two kind of playmakers. I didn't go into the game thinking they needed perimeter help. I walk out of that game thinking they do. Because I do think they're a playoff team. Or at least they're going to get into that playoff conversation as the season goes on. I expected them to win last night. But to have a quarterback throw for 360 and to not score – and really kind of have the field. I mean, D-Butt, there were so many clips where Arizona was 8 yards, all 11 guys, 9 yards from the line of scrimmage, and basically saying, you can't throw the ball over our head. Now, I was surprised that, the Chargers weren't more aggressive on early downs. I kept begging them to do it because they did it early on, and they had the big play to Rager, and he fumbles at the 1 yard line.
Oh.
But I do think,
that's staying in bounds. To go out of, I mean, that's football gods there early.
That's the play of the game, right? That's in many play of the game.
That's football gods also saying, hey, this is how this one's going.
Yep. Night.
It felt like that was pretty obvious there early. Because
crazy.
I mean, that's this far from out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then obviously just happening to have Guy there it's like.
The ball stays inbounds when it gets punched out. Yeah.
Bingo, yeah. It's like, that's tough.
Brutal.
All these things are tough. And is that why Harbs was all pissed off? Con's got a question for you, Dan.
Yeah, Dano, how was talking to Harbaugh, pregame in those meetings like you mentioned? Then obviously, how'd you feel about him at the end of the game on that third down, getting all riled up after they didn't get the call for the Chargers?
Was riled up.
Yeah, talking to him is the best, dude. This is the third down. I don't think this is pass interference on the defense. I thought they might call it grounding. We've seen that a little bit in the NFL this year. Harbaugh was, at least if I was reading lips right, he was trying to complain, saying it was going to be a double move by his receiver, stop and go. And I don't think that was actually going to be the case. So I think that's a good no call in that situation. But talking to him, man, he's awesome. He loves Justin Herbert now. I don't think I've ever heard a coach talk about a player the way that he talks about Herbert. He did our production meeting, and he was in there for probably 30 minutes, and 24 of it was about Herbert and just how remarkable Herbert is. And he called him incomparable. And he had Andrew Luck, so he was like, he's unlike anything I've ever seen. Greg Roman, who's their offensive coordinator, said he's the most gifted thrower of the football he's ever seen. And again, he's had Jeff George, he's had Lamar Jackson, so some pretty talented dudes, but They think that Herbert is the best thing going, and as long as they can kind of build around him and put a little bit of better protection and people around him, that he's very capable of winning them a Super Bowl.
I think he called him the Golden Goose or something like that. I forget. It was very early that Harbaugh came out swinging for Justin Herbert's the reason why I even took this job.
Got new shoes.
Yeah.
Herbert.
Yes, exactly. Loved everything. Like, he has been very open and public about supporting. I love this guy. Everything about him. He's the reason why I'm here. He's the reason why I picked up and left Michigan is because of how much I love him. From day one, it's been almost like a I don't want to say an angle, but basically an angle from Coach Harbaugh behind Herbert.
Yeah, hey, can't blame him. The kid made me a Chargers fan. But, hey, Dan, we talk about calls, and I feel like you were kind of on the side of the refs here with that call. That unnecessary roughness call, going to Marvin Harrison Jr. late. Like, you guys feel like that was a good call? Because I know Harbs was pissed off about that one.
What is it, sarcastic ball?
Yeah. Do I think it's a good call by the letter of the law and the rule?
Okay.
Fair. Do I think it's like an actual football call? No. But that's if you make contact with the head, they're gonna call it. Like, whether I agree with it or not. Like, no, I don't think that's an unsportsmanlike conduct. I don't think that's a shot to the head. But you can see how Hart leans just a little bit with his head, and it makes contact on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s head, and you're like, of course they're going to call it.